Tonight's program is brought to you in part by Lily.
Welcome and thank you for attending. SAA Storytellers, Your Stories on Stage is a virtual community storytelling show that is an extension of the community stories featured in our quarterly news magazine, Spondylitis Plus. A special thank you to our sponsor, Lily, who has helped make this special space possible. The stories presented here are pre-recorded, but we are gathering tonight live to celebrate the spondylitis community and the healing power of story. We will hear stories from the United States and from around the world, Croatia, India, and the Philippines. Tonight's storytellers are Jako Trebusic, Roz Toliver, Xiang Ming Chu, Rotundi, and Ivanhoe Ardiente. Please post comments before, during, or after the stories. Since our founding in 1983, the Spondylitis Association of America has been the face, the voice, and leading nationwide nonprofit organization educating, empowering, and advocating for people living with spondyloarthritis. Our mission is to be a leader in the quest to cure ankylosing spondylitis and related diseases, and to empower those affected to live their lives to the fullest. SAA has many resources. Just click on the link in the chat for more. So let's get started. Our first storyteller tonight is Jako Trebusic. Jako was born on May 21st, 1988. He lives in Zagreb, Croatia, and works as a teaching assistant at the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, University of Zagreb. He's working on his PhD in the field of information and communication sciences. In his free time, he enjoys sports activities, video games, and spending time with his beautiful wife, Melita, and newborn daughter, Anda. His AS symptoms started in 2005, and he was successfully diagnosed in 2015. He is an advocate of moderation in all things and a holistic approach to life and health. Let's hear his story.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jako. I'm from Croatia, and I have AS. Croatia, if you don't know, is a small country in Southern Europe. We have beautiful sea, beautiful country, very generous people, but unfortunately we also have AS there. Today I'm going to talk a bit about trains. Why trains? Well, there are two reasons why do I want to talk about trains. First of all, it's like an allegorical sense that I've been on some sort of a journey that I've traveled with my disease from the point where I was almost couldn't move. I was exhausted all the time, to the point where I'm now, where I'm almost, I wouldn't say free of AS, but I'm in the best shape of my life, probably. And in the other sense, which is literal, because a few years ago, I traveled on trains a lot. For those of you who don't know, trains in Croatia are not very good. We have some new trains, which is great, but also we have much old trains, and I mean 50 or 60 years old trains, which don't have air condition, which don't have any type of, commuter experience that would be good. So they're really smelly. They smell of sweat and oil from the trains, especially in the summertime. And I was commuting on those trains for 2 or 3 hours every day. The other point about the bad thing about trains in Croatia, they are often late. So that 2 or 3 hours could sometimes be 4 or 5 hours a day. So if you have AS, you probably know that sitting, standing, everything you do, which and you can't move, is very bad for you. And in trains, there are often many people. It's crowded, so you have to sit a long time or stand a long time. and that's just the killer. So during one of those train rides, I just decided I need to change my life. I need to do something about this situation. And it helped me a lot to, to be in that very, very bad point in life to decide many things. The other thing I want to talk about is something that happened during I was in this state, commuting and very painful and extremely exhausted. Well, I just started my job. I just finished my master's degree, and well, I enrolled in a PhD program. PhD program is also very exhausting and time-consuming and money-consuming, and I just had all these things on my shoulders, and I just couldn't see myself finishing my PhD while commuting every day for 4 or 5 hours in pain. So I decided to move closer to my job, move closer to my university, stop riding the trains, and it was the best decision in my life. In those moments, it also happened that I started working out a lot. I've been doing some weightlifting, some cardio, everything that works, but mostly weightlifting since I just found it to be best for my my condition. So it helped me a lot that I made those decisions, because now I'm not only almost finished my PhD. I have like 2 months. I just submitted my thesis and everything's great. I experience AS pain almost never, very, very rarely, maybe, I don't know, a few days a month, and it's really mild. So that's something great. Of course, I have to mention that also the starting point for my transformation was when I took a new medication. I was put on a biologic, which worked very, very great for me. And I'm very grateful that in Croatia, if we have bad trains, but we have free medicine, so we don't pay for that. So I get my biologic, which of course is very expensive, for free, and that also helped me to start the transformation and to make all those decisions, because I was feeling that I can finally take a break and just clear up my mind, and that I can start fresh. So, as I said, now I'm nearing the end of my PhD. I got a job at the university where I did my PhD recently, so that's great. I recently became a father, and I can say that probably due to the biologics, due to my decisions that I made, and due to the trains, which were awful, and I don't ride trains anymore, at least in Croatia. I'm in the best shape of my life, and physically and mentally. And I just want to say that I hope that everyone gets a chance like that, who has AS or any similar disease, to go through this journey, and to that it ends like this. But I'm saying it's not over, because as you know, I'm good now, but I can be bad in a few months. Maybe my biology won't work anymore, or something else happens. So I'm just enjoying every moment I have in this state, because I've been through a lot, and of course we all have been through a lot. So I just want to say that it is important not to lose hope, and to always not live in the moment, but try to enjoy everything you can while you can. Or if you cannot, try to think that everything's going to be all right. So that's it. That's my story. I hope you have enjoyed it, and thank you.
Hi, Jako.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for trusting me with your story. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I had a really good time, and I was a bit nervous whole day before this because it's 9 p.m. here in Croatia. So it's I've been thinking about it whole day, but now I'm really glad I did it. And thank you so much for your for the opportunity and for everything you've done for
Oh,
this show.
absolutely. SAA is so happy to have you. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for your uplifting message at the end of your story. I think it's really important for people to hear that AS can change on a dime. You know, you can feel great one day and feel terrible the next, and you never really know, when it's going to change. But how do you? What else do you do to stay fit? And do you have a caregiver at home? Does your partner help you? How do you stay mentally healthy and focused at home?
Yeah, well, in terms of diet, I don't eat anything special. I just eat stuff that's gives me much energy and doesn't take much energy from me. So, of course, I have occasional beer or wine or something that's sweet or I don't know, but I try to stay away from it as much as I can. And the other thing is, of course, I work out at least 2 times or 3 times a week. It's mostly weightlifting, some cardio, and it really helps me to relax. And the third thing that's probably as important as those two is I try to get as much sleep as I can. I didn't sleep for a few years, more than 3 or 4 hours at a time because my AS would woke me. This lasted for I think 3 years. Let's say 3 years. So now when my AS doesn't woke me, I'm very grateful. So I really try to get as much sleep as possible, and I really it helps me when I was writing my thesis. It also helped me to I don't know, somehow get new ideas for my work, and it's really helpful. I really don't like that people nowadays think that sleeping for 5 or 6 hours is great. I think I've done good things so far, and I always sleep like 8 or 9 hours. So yeah, sleeping, eating not so many, eating good food, and exercising as much as you can. For example, I couldn't exercise for 5 days or 6 days a week. It would be too much. I tried it. So yeah, I need to pace myself, and that's it.
So it sounds like you really had a change of heart on those train rides.
Yeah.
Like that physical pain really drove you to make some big changes in your life.
Yeah, it really did, and I'm really grateful that this happened because I wouldn't be here definitely. Who knows? Maybe I wouldn't start on a biologic. Maybe I wouldn't start weightlifting. I don't know, but it was just too much for me, and I knew I won't make it. I won't finish my PhD, or I'll split up with my partner, which is now my wife. We have a child. Everything's great. Or I don't know. I would just. I wasn't depressed, but I was like, okay, I can't live like this. I have to change something, and I did cut. I just cut some things from my life, made a change, and from that on, it was just going up.
I know your story is going to inspire others to maybe even make small changes in their life, that it will help them physically and mentally. I'm so excited for your PhD, and congratulations on your baby.
Thank you.
Jako, it has been such an honor to work with you, and I've so enjoyed meeting with you, and I know we'll stay in touch. So thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, and also likewise, you've been a great support, and I feel very lucky that I had this opportunity to say something that I think is really important. And of course, we know there are many people who have this condition, and I was also in a point where I researched the internet a lot and read stories from others or heard stories, videos from others, and it really helped me to stay positive. So I know that there is something for me in this life that's something other than pain, or at least try to connect with someone, see what's their condition, and when I see they also have pains like I have, it helps. It just helps to see that other people are going through the same thing.
Absolutely. Jako, thank you so much for being on SAA Storytellers, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. A big thank you to Jako for sharing his touching story and being part of SAA Storytellers. Our next storyteller is Roz Toliver. Roz is a native San Franciscan, is married, and has 5 adult children and 3 grandchildren. A Navy veteran, she resides in Merced, California. She retired from full-time work on disability in 2014 and has been a passionate teacher of English as a second language to adults ever since. Roz is also an SAA support group leader. She loves helping other spondies and wants the meetings to be informative and supportive because AS is a complicated and potentially debilitating disease. AS runs in her family. Her late father and brother had the disease, and she was finally diagnosed in February 2018 after having had symptoms for over 25 years. Since her diagnosis, she has become a patient advocate. Roz takes her mind off pain with her favorite pastimes, which include spending time with her family, listening to music, traveling, doing jigsaw puzzles, playing trivia and board games, cards, dominoes, and pool. Let's hear her story.
Hi, everyone. I'm Roz Toliver, and I'm going to take you back to 2006, which was 12 years before I got diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, and about 6 months after my worst flare of back pain to that time. I just moved back to California from St. Louis after my divorce, and my 2 youngest children, my 13-year-old son and 10-year-old daughter, were living with me. And on this particular day, the 3 of us decided to go on an overnight trip to San Francisco. We take BART, which is the Bay Area's rapid train, and we stay at the luxurious landmark Palace Hotel downtown, where my childhood friend Lil, who's really family, has worked for over 20 years. Well, the next morning, Lil decides to send us everything on the room service breakfast menu. So we have everything from pancakes and waffles, pastries, and fruit, juice, coffee, you name it, spread all over the bed. And we're just gorging ourselves. So at the end of eating all this food, we decide we're going to sightsee in my hometown of San Francisco. So we're walking downtown, and I'm feeling pretty good that day because I have my boyfriend, which is my TENS unit, helping me out. And so I decide that I'm going to overdo it basically, and that the kids and I are going to walk over the steep hills to Fisherman's Wharf. Well, we make it to the wharf and we start sightseeing down there. We go to Pier 39. We're having a great time when the very first urge to go potty hits. Well, the thing about San Francisco, it's a tourist town. There's a lot of homelessness. So the majority of bathrooms are either closed to the public or, like the ones that I was finding that weren't closed, they were out of order. So we start making our way back because we need to get back anyway, because Lil's going to get off work and give us a ride home. And as we're walking back, when I approach a place, I would go in, see if I could go, no luck. Well, as we start getting closer to downtown, that urge starts getting stronger and stronger. Well, finally, we reach the San Francisco Center, which is this massive mall right downtown by the cable car turnaround. And I know relief is in sight, but by then I've got to go. So when we get inside, now I have to go through this mall. So I have to pick up the pace. And because I don't run anymore because of my issues, I start doing this kind of walk run and not thinking about how funny looking it is. But it is, because basically my body is upright and it's almost like I'm just moving my legs like the centaur, right? The half man, half horse. And all of a sudden, I just hear my kids cracking up behind me. I mean, they are dying laughing. And my daughter later told me, she said it was the funniest thing she'd ever seen because they'd never seen me do anything even like a run. She said it was this weird trot that I was doing. So I finally reached the bathroom, get relief. And as I'm, sitting there, I'm thinking, about it, about why they were laughing so hard, why they were so tickled. And it was because they only knew me as this physically limited person They had never seen me be active in any way. They knew me as being in pain often. They don't know that as a child that I was this seriously healthy tomboy who was really active and bike riding, roller skating down the steep hills in San Francisco where I grew up and all of that. They don't know it. They don't know that I stayed outside until the street lights came on every day, basically. And they also don't know that before they were born in my early 20s, I was active as well. I did a lot of dancing and jogging. I played softball and I was in the Navy. So I was obviously an active person. Well, after thinking about this, about how my kids see me, it dawned on me that my life had become a carbon copy of my father's. My children see me the same way that I saw my father when I was their age. So he was 41 when I was born. So by the time I was 10 or 11, he was already in his 50s and older. But he also had ankylosing spondylitis and he had severe fusing from, from the top to the bottom. And I saw his life as one of pain and suffering, frequent bouts of uveitis and lots of digestive issues on top of the joint pain. And I watched him progress from a cane to a walker to a scooter to a wheelchair. I knew he was in the Army in World War II and had gotten a Purple Heart, but that was a person I never met. I never saw my father as a fully active person. I never saw that. His life at that time revolved around doctor's appointments, surgeries, and bingo at the senior center. Sadly, I didn't learn how active he had been as a child and as a young adult until after he passed away in 2009. I learned that he loved to dance and roller skate, just like me. But I imagine that if I'd ever seen him try to run at that time, knowing, the way that I saw him, I would have been cracking up too. So.
Hi, Roz.
Hi, Sean.
Oh my gosh, I love your story so much. Thank you for being on SAA Storytellers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I gotta ask you, you gotta tell me about that trot. Like, what's going on with that crazy walk?
I'm actually going to stand up for it so I can give you a visual, right?
Okay.
So because I'm guarding, right? I'm guarding this entire area. This part is not moving. It basically, I don't know, maybe I have to pull this down. I'm basically doing this, right? This is how I'm running to make sure that I don't move this area. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Half man, half horse, right? Where the horse's feet are going like this, but the man is upright. That's what I'm doing.
So tell me a little more about your dad. I know that you have some more thoughts about that and what that was like with him.
Yeah, watching him go through that, he unknowingly taught me how to live with this disease because he really didn't get diagnosed until he was fully fused. His symptoms started in 1942. He didn't get diagnosed till 1977. But he showed me how to still be able to be active in my own way. So he would garden and do things outside on a regular basis. He'd say, I got to go get some sunshine. He did a lot of crafts, because he was not able to do things maybe full body, but he could still use his hands. And those are all things that I still do today. We used to do a lot of jigsaw puzzles and play a lot of games. He still could shoot pool, and he'd do that at the senior center with the guys to stay connected. And he showed me that that was important, which is, partly why I volunteer and I teach ESL to adults, and I, still stay connected, even though I can't work full time. I've been retired on disability for 8 years now, but I still, work part time since then. So he showed me how to keep going and deal with all of these multiple medical issues. And he had multiple surgeries as well, but he dealt with them with a grace and a strength that he showed me, that I hope I show my kids. And my mantra, I always paraphrase Churchill with my kids that, if you're going through hell, don't stop. So no matter what happens, I just keep pushing. And I know that whatever it is, it's going to be temporary, and I just have to accept what I can't change on that. And then what is it, the courage to change the things I can is what I live by.
I only had one more question for you.
Sure.
Have you noticed a change in how AS is cared for and thought about and awareness and stuff from your father's life to your own?
Oh my God, that's the understatement of the year, Sean. Like I said, my dad did not get diagnosed. He had uveitis all the time that was diagnosed as 10 different things. The medicine wasn't even available in 77, which was, he got diagnosed when they did his hip surgery. And they were
Mm,
like, oh my God, this is, ankylosing spondylitis. Even for my brother who also inherited it, he had a lot of symptoms throughout the 90s. And again, there really wasn't anything. And he had colitis. So he had a lot of symptoms, things that the medication that I take for my AS would help him as well. So there's so much more awareness. There are so many projects. You have celebrities coming out talking about it. My dad had a book, a medical book that they kept around. And in this entire, I think it was the Merck manual or something. I mean, this
mhm.
massive book. And AS was a page. And really, they only talked about the symptoms in a paragraph.
Wow.
And I could remember my father, highlighting that, and that was it. Some medical books, you wouldn't even find it in there. So there's so much more awareness, which I'm hoping will, eventually lead to not just treatment, but a cure.
I am so thankful for you, Roz. You do so much for
Oh,
SAA. You've helped us with so many things, and I had so much fun, really, truly, so much fun working on
with
your
my peace story, right?
yes, on your peace story. Thank you for
Yeah.
being part of SAA Storytellers. Thank you for all you do, and I'm just so grateful for you. Thank you, Roz.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to say I'm grateful for SAA. That's the first website I went to when I started looking for information, and it has really, really helped me in so many ways.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you shared, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye, Sean.
Bye bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye.
Many thanks to Roz for sharing her personal story with such humor and being part of this project. As I mentioned before, Roz is part of our support group program. If you'd like to learn more about our support groups, just click on the link in the chat. Okay, our next storyteller is Xiang Ming Chu. Xiang Ming Chu is also an SAA support group leader. He's the firstborn child to a Chinese immigrant family in India. Xiang has completed MBBS medical training from Maulana Azad Medical College, New Delhi, and worked at a COVID care center run by a non-government organization called Doctors for You during the pandemic. Currently, he's working as a junior doctor medical officer in the rheumatology department of one of the finest hospitals in the country, the Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education Research in Chandigarh, which is a beautiful city in the capital of the Punjab state. Xiang likes playing table tennis and swimming. Yoga and meditation have become second nature to him since his SPA diagnosis, and he believes that everyone is fighting their own battles, and even a little support from someone who truly understands can make the journey of life so much better. And last month, he just told me this, he participated in a swimming competition, and he won a medal. Not even in his dreams could he imagine this, since swimming was just a hobby, just something he did to combat joint pain. So, let's hear his story.
I'm going to begin with my story. But before that, there's a quote by Robin Williams, one of my favorite actors. He says, I believe in destiny. There must be a reason that I am as I am. There must be. So I've gone from becoming a table tennis champion to a doctor in the field of rheumatology. Hello, my name is Dr. Sean, also known as Xiang, and here's my story. I was born as a firstborn child in a Chinese immigrant family in India. As far back as my childhood memories go, I recall being the role model child who always respected my parents' will and never ever defied their decisions. My dad was not only my coach, but my mentor who I looked up to. And because of him, I started playing table tennis at a very young age. It didn't take him long enough to realize how good I was at it. I became state champion and then represented nationals. Since sports couldn't sustain a good living, my father wanted me to become a doctor. And I did, putting my whole heart and soul, studying day and night for 2 years. I cleared the pre-med exams with flying colors, and I fulfilled the dream of my father as he never got the chance in his lifetime. Even after admission into medical school, I never stopped playing table tennis. I won tournaments and I was awarded trophies for my accomplishments. My batchmates used to hold me in high esteem since I managed my studies and extracurriculars really well. I love traveling. I went for trips with my friends to beaches, hike mountain trails, and I used to go to have a lot of food, new cuisines, participated in quizzes and competitions. My life was perfect and I was living the dream. But little did I know it was all about to end. The journey ahead was full of struggles and hardships. I My life it took a full 180-degree turn on that particular day. I was just 22 years old in February 2018 that I developed fever and had a low back pain, which got better in the next 3 days, but I was never the same after that. There was a slight discomfort in my lower back, and which progressed in 2 months that I got bedridden. I bounced around different doctors with no diagnosis. I was a medical student myself, and I was clueless about it. But one of the doctors he suggested that it could be ankylosing spondylitis, but I just couldn't accept it as we used to study about it. That is, it's a lifelong disease with you have to adjust so many things. So I looked up for alternative diagnosis, which in turn led to a series of inconclusive medical visits and a lot of investigations that made me even more confused and distraught. This all happened during my final year, like when everyone was studying, preparing for the exams, the big final year exams, and I was facing the biggest challenge of my life. At first, I thought I could beat my unknown condition with physiotherapy and painkillers, but I was wrong. Then I tried alternate medicine. That also didn't work. Later, I used even acupuncture therapy as I was grasping for straws, but that also didn't work. I even tried not thinking about it, but the pain, it was there 24/7. How could I not? Counseling, antidepressants were of no use. My pain increased, and then it increased even further, involved all the different joints. It was so severe that I had to discontinue from my med school. I was spiraling down to my lowest, totally broken, consumed with negative thoughts. I felt left behind as my colleagues, they were achieving so much in their lives. And I was here thinking why this is all happening to me. Why and what did wrong? Like I never did harm to anyone. So why is this happening to me? I used to ask God whether I'll be able to make it as a doctor. But seeing my agony, my dad, he took a decision to send me to Canada to my uncle. So I would not overthink my condition and heal myself. For me, it was a golden opportunity, as I always dreamt of visiting the country since childhood. So I agreed. My trip there made me realize that the world has so much to offer, and I can't just end up lying helpless, self-pitying. So after coming back to India from Canada, I was determined to get better. And luckily, I found a doctor who understood my predicament. He explained my condition in depth, but that my condition is certain to be improved. You just have to be regular with it, he told me. His insight into my psyche not only helped me banish my worries, but also helped me with the acceptance of my condition, spondylitis. From that day onwards, I never looked back. I took medications regularly, meticulously planned out my exercise routine, which include swimming, low impact workout, and yoga. I also changed my diet and eliminated all the inflammatory foods. I started playing guitar for fun, listened to motivating podcasts, and eventually got back to medical school to complete my rotation and got my degree. Yes, I did it. So, desire to move and hence movement despite pain is the very core of the healing process in ankylosing spondylitis. The path thereafter was not easy. Tremendous pain existed, but it was no match against my unwavering mindset. My perspective changed. I started thinking that the pain I was experiencing is nothing compared to those suffering in the hospital. I felt blessed as a doctor, capable of making difference in the lives of people who were in the most vulnerable times, just like I was once. These thoughts got me going. This dialogue from Rocky that got me going. Whenever I felt disheartened by the flares, I always used to remember it. So it is like, you must have heard it. It's like, it ain't about how hard you can hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. That's the line that used to be on my mind all the time. So in the year 2021, there was a second wave of COVID in my country, and my family got affected by it. My uncle, he was in ICU, and my grandmother and my mother, they were also having their health conditions. They were hospitalized too. So during this time, I felt that I was there to support them, and it made me feel so accomplished to be the doctor of the family. So I feel fulfilled in my destiny. And recently I've joined as a medical officer in the field of rheumatology in one of the best medical hospitals in the country. And here I can help people just like me who have spondylitis, who suffer through the same thing. With my personal experience, I can empathize with them. I can guide them better and tell them that they're not alone in this journey. So it's really helpful for me as well as for my patients. So in the future, I plan to research about spondylitis, and so that by God's grace, I could be able to be part of a scientific breakthrough and help many more in my journey.
Thank you, Sean, so much for being part of SAA Storytellers. That was great.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy, and I was so excited to meet you. Like on this platform earlier when I was here, and like I was able to talk. It was so nice meeting to you and have fun with you. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. You did such a great job. I have a question for you though. So
Okay.
Talk to me more about what it's like to be a table tennis champion.
It's nice. So it was my dad who motivated me to play table tennis, and like I was really good at it from the start. So it feels really nice. Like you go to places, different places, you meet new people, and you have their knowledge, their experience. It's a nice way to practice. It's nice. It's really nice being a table tennis champion. But more so as a field of as a doctor in rheumatology, that's even more better. Like I can talk to new patients, have their grievances to learn with and help them. That's really nice too.
Are you able to play table tennis with AS, or do you just don't play as much? Or
I do play, but yeah, definitely not at that potential. But I do play sometimes with my dad, and sometimes I go out and play. More so, I've discovered new things. Like I play guitar now. And go for swimming. That's something new, and yeah, I like that too.
I also wanted to ask you, we had talked about this a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about the award you just won from the COVID task force or something, right?
Yeah, so it was not actually an award, but they really, I got in a conference and they awarded me by being a COVID warrior. So it was as a Yes 2020 year-end success stories. So many people from different fields, how they contributed in the pandemic. So I was one of them as a doctor in a COVID care center in Delhi. And yeah, we used to take care of a lot of people, more than 2,000. So it was a huge thing for me.
Gosh, I gotta say, we are so lucky to have your story, and I'm so lucky that we connected. It has been so much fun working with you and learning more about your life and the AS warrior that you are. I know we're going to stay in touch because we're so excited that you're in the field of rheumatology.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for being part of SAA Storytellers, and I'm so grateful for you.
I'm so happy and I'm so thankful for you to have me here. Yeah, I am equally and even more happier.
Thank you so much and have a great day, Sean.
Same. Have a great day. Yes. Thank you.
That was so great, and a big thank you to Xiang for sharing his personal story with such honesty. And a big thanks for all of you for being here tonight. I hope you're enjoying these great storytellers. If you'd like to learn more about SAA Storytellers, Your Stories on Stage, and join us as a storyteller for a future show, just click the link in the chat. Okay, our next storyteller is Casey Rotundi. Casey was born and raised in South Florida. She's better known as Coach Casey through her work with Spartan Race. With a bachelor's degree in exercise science and over a dozen fitness certifications, she even owned an obstacle-based performance gym before losing it in the coronavirus shutdown. As a longtime competitive OCR ninja athlete, she earned the nickname Baboon, but has since been sidelined. Her symptoms began after giving birth to her second child, and this month marks 1 year since her AS diagnosis. Let's hear Casey's story.
Hi, my name is Casey, and I'm pretty new to this AS community. My story just started. I was diagnosed last July, so July of 2021. And I want to tell you a story about when I went to the dentist because I thought it was humorous. So this was just a few months after I was diagnosed. And it was, after the pandemic, everybody needs to do the dentist, get back in there. But, I'd been going through a lot of health things since the pandemic started. So, of course, dentist, let's go. I knew well enough at this part in my disease to not drive myself. So my husband actually drove me, and he had been trying, he's such a good support. He was trying to convince me to get these ergonomic devices, like a seat cushion and lumbar support. And, I was being pretty stubborn about it. I was like, I got this. It's just no big deal. I can do this. So I go to the dentist, and I'm used to being kind of like that person in the corner that doesn't really sit. I'm not on my phone. I have to move all the time, but I look fit enough that, it's not really out of place. I don't think most people catch it, but then I go into the dentist chair, and here's this woman over here taking my medical intake. And like I said, it's a little lengthy. So, I'm trying to talk to the wall, and then she's asking me more questions, and I'm trying to remember the prescriptions now. I'm like a science experiment at this point, but she's over here, and I'm and we get to, and I had a touch of cancer in there. Don't worry, guys, I'm good. But yeah, it's very quick. I had since 2021, I had a little cancer, some surgeries, lots of medicine introduced. Anyway, so doing my due diligence. I'm at the dentist. Let's go forward. You never heard of AS, have you? I bet you haven't. So of course she hasn't. And so at this point, I have to stand up, and I'm explaining it, and I'm doing my weird moves. And she's just blown away by my story, as people are. And so she's like, okay, just do what you need to do. Doctor, or, so-and-so will be in a few minutes. So I, doing what I need to do, of course, I start my stretching, and I'm not going to sit there. I'm going to go over here and do my recovery pose. So this takes a lot of pressure off my spine. So I get down like this. Okay. So kind of like a squat position, and it just takes pressure off that low spine. Right. So I'm sitting like a little gargoyle in the corner, and this next person comes in. So of course I have to explain why I'm in the corner and what AS is, and let's do it again, like every time, right? So she is the hygienist, and I know well enough that I need to put my sunglasses on for this, okay? So, that light is so bright. I'm in the chair. Okay, excuse me. I need another break now. So I go and I get my sweatshirt from my bag, and I'm going to just create a little cervical neck pillow, and I'm fine. Okay, hygienist is done. Now comes wait for the dentist. Okay, so I'm done. I'm going back and forth between my glasses like I am now. And I didn't realize that I still had my sunglasses on. But of course, I'm back in this position over here in the corner. I don't know. You figure it out. But very bizarre. The dentist comes in, and, everything is great. no big deal. But little Casey, I'm worried about you. You just had cancer. Let's go ahead and do a oral cancer screening. And, you know, because I've had the rarest of rare diseases, like relatively quickly, I'm like, yes, I need to do this because you know what, there comes a point in any disease where you're just like, of course I probably have that too. Like, let's go. So I'm here. I got to commit. I have been an athlete my entire life. I've done 13-hour races, but I just did not want to sit in this chair anymore. And I was like desperate. And I was like, I need to sit in this chair though. I have to do this. When am I going to come back? It's so inconvenient these days to get the appointment and then have somebody drive me, have somebody watching the kids. Anyways, my lovely husband came to my rescue. There was a little outlet store next door to the dentist. So he gets me a cervical airplane pillow. But, you know, I had already figured out my situation with my cervical spine. So I go ahead and I pop that bad boy under my butt. And I got this. I'm putting my purse behind my mid-spine and sunglasses on. Oral cancer screening. And guess what? Good to go. Now I don't have to go back to the dentist for another couple months. So that is my trip to the dentist. And I'm sure you guys probably have similar tales of journeys at the dentist, or almost like what I've realized is not to let this disease demoralize me and get the best of me, because even though I could have just kind of spiraled the rest of my day being defeated by a trip to the dentist, I just found the humor in it. And I hope you guys can find humor in your stories, because it's a really strange, mystical disease that we're all learning. But I know now, and, you know, the number one thing is mindset, because things are going to happen and we have to move on and move forward. And I hope you have enjoyed my little story. I look forward to hearing yours.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, how are you today?
Great. Thank you so much for telling the story on SAA Storytellers. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
I got to ask you, because I think our outlooks on life are similar. Please tell me a little bit more about the humor you bring to living with AS and all the other things you live with, because you're such a delight to listen to.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm lucky I have a good support system that we have to find the humor in it, because otherwise, like I said, it can make you feel demoralized. And I have a background as an athlete and as a coach. And so I've always been big into visualizing your outcome and trying to stay optimistic. And so you just kind of have to dig down deep sometimes.
So also, I know you have a very close relationship with your sauna.
Yes, I do every day.
So tell me more about your sauna care. I want to hear that.
So the sauna has a lot of benefits, and I'm surprised that nobody's really talked about it with AS, but the infrared sauna, especially the heat therapy and the infrared healing lights, it's good for everybody. It's good for all health, but specifically with AS or even rheumatoid arthritis, the heat kind of allows you to melt out a little bit so that you can get a little bit range of motion and allow your joints to go through those exercises that you want to continue in those stretches. It really helps you get in there a little better. And when you're really bad, it can just turn your day around.
I love that you're talking about this, because it's actually something we haven't had on the show yet. So
yes.
It's great. I have one more question for you, because I know you are a new mom and your husband is a great support to you. What's it like to have that kind of support at home to help you get through your day?
It's everything. It takes a lot of work on both parts, because, as somebody who was so high performing, it took a lot for me to admit my problem in the first place. And so it's really actually improved our relationship and our marriage, because our communication is so much deeper. And obviously, intimacy and stuff, there has to be a big open communication to be able to navigate your days, especially with a chronic disease and illness.
Absolutely. Your story is so humorous and so funny. And when you told me about the airplane pillow, I was like, oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
for the butt donut.
I still do that sometimes too, you know?
Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much for trusting me with your story and your energy and your time and your wit and your humor. You're such a joy to talk to. I'm so glad we got to know you better. Thank you for being on SAA Storytellers, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
It was a pleasure to work with you. I was really excited to have this project to do. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Casey.
Bye. Appreciate it.
Bye. That was wonderful. Thanks to Casey for her humorous and inspirational story. Thank you so much for being part of SAA Storytellers. I want to share that SAA doesn't receive any government funding, and we rely on private donations. Funds received help sustain programs like our National Support Group program. I'll put a link in the chat to our donation page if you'd like to help SAA fulfill its mission. You can also volunteer, give a gift in memory or a tribute. There are so many ways to help SAA. Okay, we are ready to introduce our final storyteller of the night, Ivanhoe Ardiente. Ivan lives in the Philippines. His first love is photography, but he also paints. He's a self-taught artist. His ankylosing spondylitis pain started at the age of 15 and became severe at 22. He admits it isn't easy to paint as a right-handed person with a fused shoulder on his right side, but being an artist brings him joy. He says, I question a lot, and I wander a lot, and I went where the wind took me. He went to college for 2 years, studying agriculture business, and then to Taiwan to work various jobs. He worked in a high-rise building, he worked in some factories, and he became a steel welder. He also says, I'm thankful to my AS family who was there and who offered so much support, especially Cookie Hopper, who I forgot to mention in the Storyteller video. She made my hips replacement surgery possible. Let's hear Ivan's story. Thank you for being part of SAA Storytellers.
I'm glad to be here, though. I'm glad.
Absolutely.
Very honored, very honored, very honored.
Thank you. Thank you as well. Remember you did the paintings for our calendar a few years ago?
Yeah, I'm so proud for that, for you guys letting me to be part of the association. That my painting you use as your calendar cover.
Absolutely. Everyone loved them. Actually, I was just reading some stuff today, how people were like, oh my gosh, Ivan, they were so amazing.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
So,
It's an
Ivan,
honor.
tell me the story about how you got started painting.
It's about Jennifer Dye, as you know her, because it was started on Apple when she painted Apple. Remember, right? And she asked the AS community if they can share a painting, an Apple painting. So that's when it was started. So at first I sent her a painting using the computer, not really my hand, not really a paint, but a computer. That was my first attempt to send her my painting. Then she sent me stuff like paint, like everything, like brushes. Then that is the whole started. I started painting. Actually, there is a woman that I met first before Jennifer Dye. I think you know her. Her name is Janelle Gingrich. She's from North Carolina. At first, she sent me stuff like normal tools for painting. Not really that kind of how do you call that? The kind of media that uses for like oil paint, watercolors, acrylic, not like that. Just like how do you call that? Pastel, like chalk. Yeah, something like that. And then she introduced me to Jennifer Dye.
Mhm.
Janelle introduced me to Jennifer Dye. That is how I started painting. So it's a good run though. It's a good run. It gives
Yeah.
it motivates me to go on like, oh, because way back before I keep drawing, but I never had really an actual painting. Maybe it's just like awakening when I was introduced with the apple. It's like awakening. Oh, I remember I can paint because it's been forgotten long time ago. So
Did you paint when you
that's
were
the,
younger?
yeah. I paint when I was younger,
Mhm.
but it was stopped, and it was not really. I was not really being motivated to go on with that. So it was been forgotten long time ago. So it just awakened when Jennifer Dye started her apple painting.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then I remember, oh, I can do this because I used to do this. you know, I used to paint. I can do it, something like that.
So tell me how your painting helps your AS.
Oh, it separates you from pain while doing pain, even though you are in pain. So you're no longer focusing your struggle or your suffering with pain. Your focus went to the work, to the painting. It's not really like oh, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. No, I have to put myself in the work, not
Mhm.
keep thinking on my pain, because I'm not really on medication for my pain reliever. I don't really take medication since I used to take, but sometimes it hurts my stomach. It hurts my stomach. So
Mhm.
maybe because uh, knowing that taking a lot of medication can hurt also you know, your damage your liver, your kidney, something like that. So it scares me. So I don't really take a daily basis of taking pain medication. So that's why painting become my daily, how do you call that? My daily
Exercise?
uh, exercise, and forget about the pain, just focus on the work, something like that.
Do you have a
It
picture
really helps.
nearby? Do you have a picture nearby
Huh?
of something you've painted? A painting? There we go. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I love your work so much.
something like this. Wait.
Oh, I see behind you. I see behind you.
It's it's from the calendar.
Yeah, it's from the calendar. I
Remember?
noticed.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
There we
something like
go.
that.
Oh my gosh. You know what we're going
Yeah.
to do for everyone, Ivan, is at the end of our conversation, we're going to put a link in the chat to your Facebook page so people can
Okay.
friend you and see your wonderful artwork. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah. Because for the past 2 years though, I'm afraid to touch my, when the pandemic started,
Yeah.
this quarantine thing. So I wasn't able to spend, like, I'm afraid to some kind, how do you call that? Artist block. When you're
Yeah.
afraid to touch your brush, your paint, like
Hmm.
that. You're not, yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. For 2 years, I'm not painting. I'm not doing anything.
Are you still working through that?
Yeah, yeah. I will get by.
Hmm.
I will. It's just a momentum, though.
Yeah.
Maybe, perhaps something like that. Because they
So,
said artists always do experience that kind of feeling when they need to
mhm,
stop. I don't know.
mhm. So I watched on your Facebook today the video after your hip surgery, and you were really moving really well.
Yeah, but what happened that my left hip something like shorter, like
Hmm.
an inch.
Hmm.
So that's why if I walk, after the surgery, I had to use walking cane, something like this. Wait. So I need this one, walking cane.
Yep.
Uh, so because it's not, it's like an inch difference between my foot and my legs. Like, uh, it's not really the same length, a 1 inch difference. So walking is really like, and sometimes I can easily get pain, but it will go by. I know it will
Mhm.
go by. When I'm in pain, I know it will get by. It doesn't mean that I'm always on that stage, always on that situation. I will survive anyway because I've been struggling for how many years? 25 years? Maybe every pain coming, oh, it's okay. It will get by. Something like that.
Um,
Because it,
yeah.
Hmm.
No, go ahead.
No, no, go. Because pain is like, everything is a mindset. Because if you don't, if you don't change your mindset about dealing with pain, you will be screaming like, "Oh, help me!" Like calling any names to help you out. But if you change your mindset, like being peaceful or listening to your favorite music, it will help you. It will help you subside the pain. And it's everything in the head. So maybe dopamine creates your brain creates your own dopamine to subside the pain, something like that.
I agree with you 100%. When I'm doing something that I love, I really don't feel anything. You're totally right.
Right?
So, is there anything else that you want to share with me or tell me about, living in the Philippines or AS or your painting or your family, or is there anything else on your
I'm
mind?
I'm not sure if people in general, when they look people different,
Mhm.
like because every time I go out, walk around, so I can easily, I can easily get attention because the way I look, the way I move,
Mhm.
and sometimes you are being, people talk about it, and sometimes they will create their own, thing, how you became, because sometimes they create stories about you that is not really related to the ES. So it's really hurting though. I'm not sure if it's that people in general, even in the US, do that, or only here, or only in the other countries. But I know something like it hurts though, but you have to be you have to let go what other people talks about your situation, because they
Mhm.
cannot do anything about your situation. It's only you can do about your situation. Like if you listen to them, it will only bother you, it only hurt your feelings. So it doesn't really, because is something about acceptance. You need to accept what you are and who you are, because there's no way you can change about who you are. You already have ES and you cannot take it away from you. Even you take drugs, biologics, or something else, you still have ES. So you need to accept the fact that you are who you are. It was given to accept that. So it's like, because I read a lot of posts about in the ES community about it's a monster, this kind of disease is like killing me, I hate this life, something like that. But the mindset, you need to change that because it's already there. There's nothing you can do about it. It's already there. So you have to accept the fact, just go with the rhythm.
Mhm.
Be a friend to the monster.
I actually just gave that advice to somebody else. Did you say you called it a monster?
Yeah, the disease is a monster because it's
Yeah,
killing you, right?
I just had this conversation with somebody else. They brought it up that way too. So it's you definitely have your finger on the pulse there, Ivan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Accept
Ivan, I
the
want to
fact.
thank you
Acceptance.
so much for chatting with
Okay.
us, SAA and
Okay.
SAA Storytellers today. We did our story a little different with you. We wanted to hear you tell the story of your life and your art and how you deal with AS. And I'm so grateful that you spent some time with us all the way from the Philippines. And I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so happy for you.
I'm happy also to be here with you guys, meeting you. It's already the fact is I'm so thankful that your association, the Spondylitis America, accept me with no colors. You know what I mean? Being a member of the Association of America, the Spondylitis, and I am across the pond, I'm across the ocean, but still I'm being accepted without, racial. No, right. It's an honor though. It's really like a heartwarming welcome from you people. Thank you so much.
A big shout out to Ivan. Thank you so much for meeting with me to share your amazing life story and being part of this project. If you'd like to learn more about Ivan and his painting, we've put some links in the chat. What a wonderful group of storytellers from around the world. Jako Trebusic, Roz Toliver, Xiang Ming Chu, Casey Rotundi, and Ivanhoe Ardiente. Thank you. Thank you so much for being brave and sharing your personal journey with us. If you would like to join the next SAA Storytellers Your Stories on Stage presentation, I'll put a link in the chat if you'd like to save the date now with a virtual ticket. Thank you so much for helping us create community and empathy through the power of story. I love storytelling, and it's a pleasure to share my passion with it for you tonight. Also, another big thank you to Lily for helping us make this special space possible. I hope you will consider telling a story with SAA. Thank you for joining us this evening and have a great night.